Today, I'm looking at an affordable alternative to the Aputure Light Dome Mini 2, and that is the Lao Fast 60cm Mini Softbox, and it's currently around £50 less than the Aputure, and I love a bargain so long as it's not at the expense of quality. And I have to say, this is the best Aputure alternative that I've seen so far. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some comparisons first and see if you can guess which is which. So let me know in the comments below which one you think is the Aputure or which one is the Lao Fast. And I'm going to give you the answers later on in the video. Just want to say a big thank you to Aputure who have sent me the Lao Fast softbox. Now, although they sent it me free of charge, they've not paid me to say anything. So everything that I say in this video is my 100% honest opinion. Nobody's paid me to say anything, unfortunately. And Aputure are an online distributor for loads of great brands, including Zhiyun, Aputure, Godox, Lao Fast, and many more. So it's definitely worth checking out the website. I'll leave a link below. So before I show you some comparisons and some examples, let's have a look at what you get with this softbox. First of all, the softbox itself. I went for the 60cm version because I wanted to test to see what it was like against the Aputure Light Dome Mini 2. So that's the same size, but it also comes in a 90cm version as well as a 120cm. 120. So you've got the option there of having something like the Aputure Light Dome 2, the big version. Although it's the same diameter, there's a slight difference. Hang on. There's a slight difference in depth. The Lao Fast is just slightly deeper, but it's marginal. It's marginal, honestly. You won't be able to tell. You can't tell unless you put them next to each other. See? There's hardly anything in it. But it's a Bowens mount and it's the same design as the Aputure, where you've got the quick release rods in there. So nice and simple to set up and pack down. If you've not seen them before, you just unclip these little things and you don't have to take the rods out every time, which is a pain. So to find something at this price that matches the Aputure is absolutely. Now I've done some softbox comparisons before, I'll leave a link up here, and Niwa did one, extremely good price, and it was great and it looked amazing as well. But it had a plastic mount, whereas this has a metal mount just like the Aputure. Now it's worth noting that the Bowens mount is slightly thinner on here than it is on the Aputure, but we're talking, you can't even tell. You can't even tell. So the Aputure is slightly better made, but there's no problem with this. So it also comes with this inner diffusion, which you just Velcro, or we're not allowed to say Velcro, hook and loop into the inside of the light dome itself, and just provides a little extra layer of diffusion. And then we've got two front diffusers. We've got a 1.5 stop diffuser, which is fairly thin. And then we've got a 2-stop filter, which is slightly thicker. Now I prefer this because it just makes the light on the face a little bit softer and you get less shine, especially on this conker. But you've got the option of both, and that's a bonus over the Aputure because you only get the thinner layer of diffusion with the Aputure. So that is a winner in my book. I love that thicker layer of diffusion. And it also comes with a honeycomb grid, which is great for keeping some of the light spilling over into the background if you don't want that. And it's exactly the same as the Aputure one. Great quality. I love a honeycomb grid, me. And then, the moment you've probably all been waiting for, my favourite, a case. A dedicated case. If you've seen my channel before, you'll know how excited I am right now about the case. But not only that, it's not just a case, it's padded. It's pretty much exactly the same as the Aputure case. The only thing is the logo and the red piping around the edges. But it's padded, it's well made, the perfect size, perfect fit. Zip, handle, say no more. Right, so let's have a look at some examples. For all of the examples, I was using the Godox SL150 Mark II. Amazing light, my favorite, and I had it in the exact same place for all of the tests. So in this first example, I was using the thinner layer of diffusion on both the Aputure and the Lao Fast, and noticed that the Lao Fast was slightly brighter, and that's up to you whether you like that or not. I suppose it's always good to have more light and have to turn it down than to need more light. So I suppose that's a win for the Lao Fast actually, a little bit of extra brightness. And obviously because the Aputure's only got that one layer of diffusion, this is what that looks like compared to the Lao Fast with the thicker diffusion. And obviously there the Aputure is slightly brighter because it's letting more light through, but in the Lao Fast it's a little bit softer on the face, which I prefer. And this is what the Lao Fast looks like comparing the 1.5 stop diffusion to the 2-stop diffusion. So naturally the thinner diffusion is a little bit brighter. And which one do you prefer? I really like the softness of that 2-stop diffusion. I think it just looks so natural. So this is what the Lao Fast looks like with the honeycomb grid and also without the grid. And as you can see, it stops the light spilling onto the background or the sides as well. So it's a good little extra to control the light a little bit more, make it a bit more direct. It does bring down the brightness overall of your light, so you will have to compensate for that, but that's fine so long as you've got a powerful enough light. And then here's a comparison between the Aputure and the Lao Fast softboxes, both with the grids on. Now just note here that the Aputure is a little bit brighter because I was using the thinner diffusion there, but if you want a bit of extra brightness you can always use the thinner diffusion that you get with the Lao Fast softbox. I feel like I'm wearing out the word softbox. So which one do you prefer? I really like the Lao Fast, to be honest, because it comes with that extra thicker layer of diffusion. It just softens up the shadows and the highlights on the face, and I just really like that sort of look. And the fact that it comes with that extra layer just gives you a bit more variety and a few more options when it comes to lighting your subject. And not to mention as well, the price. You're saving money and you're getting more. So to me, it's a no-brainer. The only thing is the design. What would you want on set? Would you want those red lines? Maybe it wouldn't bother you. Or would you prefer something a little bit more discreet, like on the Aputure, where it's just got those grey rod thingies, whatever it's called. What are they called? But you know what I mean. Red or grey. It can be a bit garish, can't it, that? But if that doesn't bother you, for example, if you're just filming things in your room or a studio, it doesn't matter. It might not matter anyway. Right, so before I give you the answers to the little test at the beginning, I just want to say that Insta360 are having a sale at the moment. Really good prices on the website. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check them out. But you can get 15% off the 1R at the moment and 10% off accessories as well. So definitely worth checking out if you've been looking at the 360 cameras or the action cameras from Insta360. Insta360. Shall I breathe? Let's breathe. So definitely worth checking out. I've done some videos on these cameras before, so if you want to have a look at those, there'll be a little card here that you can click. Right, let's have a look how well you did. So the first test, A was the Aputure and B was the Lao Fast. And I was using the thin diffusion on both of those examples there. So well done if you got that one right. In the second example, A was Lao Fast this time and B was the Aputure. And as you probably guessed, they both had the grid on there. So as I said earlier, the Aputure will be slightly brighter because it's using the thinner diffusion. Did you get that one right? And then lastly, A was Aputure and B was the Lao Fast. Now I was using the only diffusion that came with the Aputure, which is the thinner one, and I was using the 2-stop thicker diffusion material on the Lao Fast. So again, the Aputure would have been slightly different, but it's interesting to know what you guys thought it was. So let me know in the comments, how many did you get right? Did it surprise you? Did you think they were both the same? And tell me your thoughts as well about the Lao Fast. Which one do you prefer, Lao Fast or Aputure? It was really good doing these tests. I love the little side-to-side comparisons because that's when you can really tell the difference in something. And sometimes you don't know until you do that side-to-side A-B comparison. So I love these sorts of tests. If you want to see anything else like this, just let me know in the comments. Thinking of doing one between the R6 and the R, but I've got something else up my sleeve in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that one. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more gear reviews and tutorials. I'm also on Instagram, don't forget, so if you've not followed me on there, head over to the account and I'll see you there. Thanks so much for watching, if you still are, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great week. Okay, this is the Lao Fast 1 layer of diffusion, f3.2, ISO 400. It's about an arm's reach away from me, 45-degree angle, and we're on 28%. 28%